What up, what up, what up? It's your boy Roy, accompanied by the one, the only, the Dominican bad man, Sergio, aka the floor price guy. And we're Combat Sport Guys coming back to you with another UFC Fight Night. Covington versus Buckley. Analysis, prediction, picks, opinions, full card breakdown. We're going to end the year strong. Make sure you tap the subscription button. Make sure you tap the like, the comment. Show us some love. Follow us on X. The description is in the link below. The link is in the description below. Wow, I got tongue twisted there. How you doing, my man? What's going on?
I'm good, brother. Listen, we had UFC 310. We broke it down, left a little bit of money. Predictions came in hot. I think you probably hit 11 out of 14. Your boy hit 8 out of 14. It was a good fight night. How you doing, champ?
I'm doing well, man. I'm excited to break this card down as I always am. I'm excited to end the year strong. Let's get 13 of 13 correct in our picks. Let's put out some solid bets, some solid parlays, and let's make the people some money. What do you say about that, brother?
Let's go. Let's get it.
Hell yeah. Let's get into this card. But before we do, once again, make sure you hit the like, make sure you hit the subscribe, make sure you drop us a comment, whether you agree with us, whether you disagree with us. Let us know. We're not going to crash out on you. We're not going to get upset. We're not going to get emotional. We're not going to get offended. We love hearing feedback. I don't always agree with my man here. He'll tell you I'm the first one to send him a hateful voice message and vice versa. It is what it is. But at the end of the day, it's all love, baby. Let's get into this card. We have kicking off the card a women's strawweight bout. Vieira Rodriguez up against Josephine Knutsson. How would you say that last name?
Oof, brother. That's from the Ice Islands, eh?
Yeah.
Nutson.
Yeah, we'll say Knudsen. Rodriguez is 9-2-0 and is 3-5 in their last 5 bouts, last losing to Ariane Carnelosi via disqualification or headbutts. She was headbutting a bit too much, my man. Knudsen is 8-0 and is 5-5 in their last 5 bouts, last beating Julia Polastri via unanimous decision. Break it down for me, man. Who do you got in this fight?
Listen, champ. It looks like we got a little bit of a striker versus grappler situation in our hands here, brother.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My boy thought I didn't do homework. My boy thought we're coming in here, we're waking up. We're nah, brother.
You know what it is? You know what it is? I get tired of hearing my own voice, man. I gotta throw you the rock every once in a while.
my boy thought we don't do research here. But listen, we got Knutson with the striking advantage versus Rodriguez with the grappling advantage. And I mean, look, the reality is, if my girl Josephine Knutson is able to keep it on the feet, she's gonna do well, And like the reality is, undefeated fighter. Um, you know, she doesn't have fear, champ. You got Rodriguez with a 2 fight losing skit. She is coming up. I think both girls are coming from the contender.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it hasn't gone Rodriguez's way. Maybe this is the one. Maybe it's not. But listen, champ, I'm gonna go with Knutson. I like the undefeated fighter. I'll pass on the rock to you.
Yeah, I think Rodriguez, the Venezuelan, she's a decent striker and grappler, but she's somewhat inconsistent, right? And one of the things we saw in the Knudsen fight up against Julia Palastri is, she was able to be taken down and controlled on the ground, right? So I think her path to victory is pretty clear. Keep the fight on its feet, set up her combinations, move in and out, and kind of piece her up that way and kind of keep the fight at her pace and at her range. I don't see Rodriguez taking her down as much and controlling her. I mean, she is going to probably incorporate that game plan, but I think Knudsen is going to be able to bring the fight back up to its feet, utilize her striking, and pull out a decision victory. I'm probably going to look at the lines here if it goes over 1.5 or the distance, because this fight is going to go the distance. I don't see either of them finishing each other. So we'll see what the odds look like then. If it's closer to the money line or lower, I'll probably place a bet there.
I like that, champ.
Hell yeah, there we go. Next up, we have a men's bantamweight bout. Davy Grant up against Ramon Tavarez. Grant is 13-7-0 and is 2-5 in their last 5 bouts, last losing to Daniel Marcos via split decision. My man Tavares, on the other end, is 10-2-0 and is 4-5 in their last 5 bouts, last beating Serhi Side via split decision. Now, when you look at Grant, he has a strong submission game, right? He finishes right. He finishes his fights via submission often. He does have good grappling skills. He has power late in the round. He can also finish the fights as the fights progress, right? He has good cardio, good durability, good endurance, and he is dangerous as the fight progresses. And we know some of the things he's weak with is he's inconsistent, right? He sometimes starts off slow, and then when you start off slow against somebody who likes to start off fast, you can often get catched, dropped, and finished, right? So that's one of his weaknesses. Tavarez on the other end, he can set the pace, right? I think if Tavarez keeps the fight standing and uses his experience to control the pace, he could look to outwork him, right, and strike him and kind of win points off of that. I think Grant's clear path to victory is going to be utilizing his ground game, utilizing his wrestling, taking him down, and looking for that submission finish. But I think Tavarez has fast hands, he has good power, and you think of that up against Grant's a slow start, it's going to be long, bro. It's going to be long, I think, in the first round. And if he's able to weather the storm in the first round and it progresses on, I think Tavarez is going to be able to kind of like find the rhythm and find the groove and kind of use his striking to win this fight. Similar to the first fight that we just talked about, I think Tavarez is going to win.
Well, you're wrong on something, champ. My boy David Grant. I was in Grant Davis. Holy snap! Isn't Grant Davis one of the guys? No, I'm thinking about Grant Hill. Never mind. Back into the fight. Mr. David Grant has improved significantly on his striking, brother. He's been looking hella polished. He's been on a different level, and he's been fighting, tougher opposition. I like that. But close decision. Prior to that, 2 losses to Marlon Vera and Yanez. And Yanez is a split decision. I got to say, Yanez is very crafty on the ground. That was the striker to light. Ramon Tavarez had very good success with City. City did lose. City won, but in the eyes of the others, he did lose. I'm gonna go with Grant. I'm gonna roll the dice. This fight is extremely even at a plus 120, and look, you got Grant almost won tough in 2016. I think that's partially the issue. Is age going to be an issue this fight? This other cat's hungry, he's experienced, and we'll see how things go.
We'll see how things go. I'm going with Tavarez at a medium. You're going to go with Grant at a...
Has to be a low.
Going to be a low. All right. Moving along here, we have a women's flyweight bout. Miranda Maverick up against Jamie Lynn Horth, the Canadian, Maverick is 14-5-0 and is 4-5 in their last 5 bouts, last beating Dion Barbara via unanimous decision. Lynn Horth is 7-1-0 and is 4-5 in their last 5 bouts, last beating Ivana Petrovic via unanimous decision. I think, some of the strengths that Horth has in this fight is she does have the size and reach advantage. She's going to make it difficult for Maverick, if she utilizes her range and utilizes her reach, for Maverick to close the distance and find those entry points. Maverick is kind of she's a good grappler, right? She's strong wrestling. She has a strong wrestling base and has good submission skills. She's gonna look to take this fight to the ground, control her opponent, and win off of that way, right? Her striking is not her primary weapon, but she can engage in the striking exchanges. But she's gonna look to bring this fight to the ground, and she has really good fight IQ. I think she's gonna win this fight. This is a classic, grappler versus striker. Nothing against Horth. Her takedown defense is improving, but I think up against somebody who's as good as Maverick, it's going to be long, bruv. So I think Maverick is going to be the pick for me. I'm going to go with the high. She's going to be able to utilize the grappling and dictate the pace. So I'm going to go with Maverick to win this fight.
I'm going to concur with you. I think Maverick has always been hot. The way she fights, she's no joke, and she's going to come in to annihilate. And then when it comes to, look, James lost in Canada, split decision. She should have put it on Ivana, and she didn't. Right? And like I said, I just don't like it how she's a little bit tentative at times, and then it just takes her a little bit to become aware. So by default, by that, Maverick wins. Maverick's gonna. I think she's gonna be 2 months. This is a medium.
And she's the favorite at a minus 350. So we'll look at those props. We'll see the decisions. We'll see what other bets we can make that are kind of closer for us to be intrigued in betting, right? And as always, we do drop our bets later in the week, sometimes Thursday, Friday. Make sure you follow us on X and be on the lookout for that. In addition to that, for each fight, we do a immediate fight analysis round by round with the live odds. A lot of people love those breakdowns. A lot of people love those analysis. So make sure you tap in, you follow us, and you engage with us. We are building that community. We are at almost 1,300 follows. We are getting 100 to 150 follows per fight card. We are growing that account. We've been doing this in September. We're going to end the year strong. And then next year, we're going to go for 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, 50,000, 100,000, 100 million. I don't know. I'm just shooting for the stars. But yeah, make sure you tap in with us, follow us, show some love. We'll move on here. We have a men's bantamweight bout. Miles Johns versus Felipe Lima. Johns is 15-2-0 and is 3-5 in their last 5 bouts, last beating Douglas Silva de Andrade via unanimous decision. Lima is 13-1-0 and is 5-5 in their last 5 bouts, last beating Mohamed Naomev via submission. Important thing to note, Miles Johns was initially supposed to fight Cody Garbrandt on the Protis and Magny fight night, and that fight was rescheduled. Johns was rebooked, but not against Cody Garbrandt. So I don't know what their plan is with Cody Garbrandt. I don't know what he's going through, but it's unfortunate, right? Because I think Cody Garbrandt would have been a better fighter for Johns to be matched up against. But it is what it is. Another thing to note is that this fight isn't at 135; it's at 145. So it's a step up for John. So just remember that. I think he has good wrestling and power in his strike, but the question is, will he be able to utilize his wrestling? He doesn't use it as often. He has good durability. He has good striking. Lima, on the other end, he's versatile. He's well-rounded. He's capable of finishing fights, via KO or submission. He has multiple paths to victory. He's more powerful, I would say, than Johns, has the technique behind his strikes, and he has the ability to land significant strikes. I think Lima, for myself, is going to be the pick because Felipe Lima can mix up the striking combinations and find entries to take his opponent down and utilize the grappling. He has more paths to victory, and this fight's at 145 pounds. I'm going to go with Lima to pull out the victory.
There's no odds for this fight yet, right?
There's no odds, no. Not at the moment.
Double check 1 second, because I'm very curious to see what are the odds. Odds sitting at... Oh, no, there's no odds, eh? Bruno Silva, Manel, Piera. No, champ. There's no odds. Strange. Mm-hmm. When was this fight added? That might be the case. I mean, oh, there it is. Felipe Lima is a -280. Miles Johns is a +230.
There you go.
Yeah. So I mean, I gotta start with Lima. I know Johns beat Cody Gibson and well, Douglas Silva de Andrade is no joke.
Mm-hmm.
Champ. Now I'm looking at my lips right now. Maybe it says KO by Phillip all the way, but how old is John? 30? Yeah, John still has it. So I mean, look, this is a hard one, Champ, for me. I'll be honest with you. I just don't like that my boy's coming up. My boy's going to be a little bit smaller. 2-inch reach advantage is not that bad. Listen, John, fuck it. I'm going to go with Johns. There's something about the veteran, but he's not even that much veteran. I think he's more of a veteran in the UFC. I think he's faced tough raw opposition. I think he's come to prepare for this individual. I expect him to use his wrestling. It is hard because I want to give it to Felipe. I want to get I think Felipe knocks him out, but if he doesn't knock him out, it's going to be a long night with the wrestling department.
Yep. I agree. If he uses the wrestling.
I was struggling. Yeah, I was struggling. Oh, he better use the wrestling. I mean, if not, it might be night.
Yep. All right. I'm going to go with Lima. You're going to go with Johns. I'm going to go with the medium.
Low. It has to be a low.
Oh, all right. We'll move on here to a men's featherweight bout. We got Shad Woodson up against Fernando Padilla. Woodson is 12-1-1 and is 4-5 in their last 5 bouts, last beating Alex Caceres via unanimous decision. Padilla is 16-5-0 and is 4-5 in their last 5 bouts, last beating Luis Pajuelo via submission. What do you got for this, man? What do you think? Break it down for me.
I like Sean better. Sean's length is Sean is the big boy, but then then you get another guy that's as big, and this is very, very uncommon for these guys to be kind of par, because typically Sean Woodson is the lengthier fighter, and he's going to have that 1-inch height advantage and that 2-inch reach advantage. But I mean, look, I just like Sean's having a little bit more kind of crispier. I think the guy with the more experience is Sean here. Sean should be able to snipe out Padilla. What do you got?
Yeah, I think Sean, as you mentioned, his reach, right? He's 6'2". He has one of the longest reaches in the featherweight division. He has a good jab with his boxing background. I think he's going to be able to, establish his jab, keep the fight at range, and kind of, pick his shots wisely. He's very durable too. He can keep the fight. He can engage in the strikes. He can take a hit. I think as the fight progresses, he's going to outstrike Padilla. Padilla, when you look at him, he has power behind his hands. He does throw a flurry of combinations which can overwhelm his opponents. And he's aggressive, right? He likes to move forward. He likes to dictate the pace. And he likes to force people to be in uncomfortable situations. And he can also take punches. He's very durable. I think, however, these two guys up against each other, Sean Woodson has the reach advantage and the slight grappling advantage if it does go down on the ground. And I think he's going to be able to utilize both the grappling and the striking to kind of take away Padilla's striking prowess, right? Because he's not going to want to engage with him all night. Even though he doesn't shy from it, he's not going to want to do it all night. So I think Sean Woodson has multiple paths to victory. If he's able to just establish his jab, keep it at range, and then secure some takedowns in the fight, I think he could pull out the victory. I'm gonna go with Sean Woodson at a low.
Yeah, same.
Cool. There it is. Next up, we have Drakkar Klose versus Joel, however you want to say, Joel Alvarez. Klose is 15-2-0 and is 4-5 in their last five bouts, last beating Joaquim Silva via unanimous decision. Alvarez is 21-3-0 and is 4-5 in their last five bouts, last beating Elvis Brenner via KO TKO. I think for me, it's gonna be Alvarez. I think, like I mentioned, I've been saying this often for all these fights so far. He has more paths to victory. I think he's gonna look to keep the fight on its feet, secure good entry points, and take the fight to the ground and possibly secure a submission. When you look at Joel Alvarez, he's really good at grappling, right? He has a high rate of finishes via submission, and he's aggressive. He often looks for the finish. He often looks to take the fights out on the ground and look for that position of advantage and look for that submission that he can attempt and probably be successful in getting. He is improving on his striking. If you watch his fights, his striking is getting a little better. He can hurt people. He has a bit of power. He doesn't have the most technique behind him, but he's utilizing his strikes to set up his takedowns. So I'm going to go with Alvarez.
Yeah, I gotta side with Alvarez too. I think Alvarez has the reach, has the submission game. Um, you know, Close has the grappling. I just, you know, I feel, and 15-2. I look at this record and I feel he's lost a couple of more times, but he hasn't, and he's faced durable guys. I mean, look, he lost to Tamir Benil, but then he's been good. I mean, look, you got a fight here that's actually tough for both opposition.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one's hard to call, but I got to go with the young buck, Joel Alvarez. Yeah, I just like the length. I know that Claus is susceptible to be lured into brawls, and if this manages to happen, I think Alvarez snipes him from the reach. I really think this is going to be that.
Yeah, and I like as you mentioned, Close is his biggest asset is his wrestling, but is he going to be able to control Alvarez, put him up against the cage, put him in the clinch, and hit him with those strikes? Not against somebody who's also good at grappling, right? Because they're going to be able to reverse, scramble, take the fight on the ground. So it's going to be interesting this fight. I think it just comes down to who's going to dictate the pace and who's going to apply the pressure more early on, and I think that's going to be Alvarez. We'll see. Alvarez is the pick for both of us, and we'll move on to a lightweight bout. We got the Tampa boy, Michael Johnson. I don't know why I said it like that, Michael. It just came out naturally. We got Michael Johnson versus Otman Azaitar. Johnson is 22-19-0 and is 3-5 in their last five bouts, last beating Darius Flowers via unanimous decision. I feel like he's been fighting forever, man, Michael Johnson. I feel like I've been seeing him.
Look at that record, brother. Look at that record.
Yeah, man. Like, man, dude, this guy's still getting after it. Azaitar is 13-2-0 and is 3-5 in their last five bouts last season to Francisco Prado via unanimous decision. Ottoman has power. He has the ability to end fights quickly, with his striking. He's aggressive. He likes to push the pace. He searches for that fight. He moves forward. He doesn't shy away from, engaging in the exchanges. And, I think the thing that's up against him here is the experience, right? Michael Johnson has been in the UFC. He's a tried and true vet, and If you look at, we know what to expect when we watch Michael Johnson fight. He has good footwork and good striking technique, and he has good takedown defense, right? He's fast, he has quick hands, and can make and which make him a dangerous striker. He has good cardio, right? As the fight progresses, he's going to continue with that output. He's going to continue with that pace. I think him being at home, yeah, I think Michael Johnson. I'm going to go with Michael Johnson. I'm going to go with the vet here.
I'll motivate him a little bit. Now, shout out to Johnson. There was one time a rising contender by the name of Dustin Poirier was making the ranks, and my guy knocked him out. And I remember I was in Montreal. I was eating salmon. I dropped the salmon. I'm like, what is going on here? It's because Dustin was always been one of my favorite fighters back in the day. I just love how gritty it was. But Michael Johnson surprised everybody. Went to fight Gaethje, put a hurting on Gaethje in the first round, but Gaethje managed to survive. So I mean, he's been in a lot of different wars. The 212, the 22-19 is, it's just he's tried a little bit. He's tried to go to featherweight. He's tried to make things change. I think this is a good weight class for him. My man over here, man, I don't remember if it's him or his brother that got into trouble in the pandemic for leaving the bubble. But I'll say this: this is a chin issue for both gentlemen. Both gentlemen. That's why I told when I told you at the beginning of the show, I'm recording. They put the best fighters and the worst fighters together. I also meant they put the guys with the chins, brother. These both individuals have been cracked, and this is not a decision. Somebody will go. And if I'm a betting man, I think Johnson gets it done. I know I rambled a little bit, but I think Michael Johnson deserves a little,
Yeah, I agree with you. Johnson has shown in the past that his chin is questionable, right? He has been knocked down, he has been knocked out. And I think if he's able to utilize his footwork, move in and out, establish his jab, get his combinations, utilize his striking technique and his speed, he's going to be able to out throw with more output, right, and outstrike. What's it called? What's his name? Ottoman. I think if it does go to decision, how are the judges going to be, right? What have we seen throughout this whole year? The judges, man, they've been known to F some people over, right? Especially the hometown people that they always give them that power up, right? As you like to say, the sensu bean. So we'll see. I think Michael Johnson is going to win. If it goes to decision, he's probably going to have a favorable decision depending on how it looks. But yeah, Michael Johnson is the pick. Cool. Next up, we have a light heavyweight bout. A debutant in Navajo Stirling up against Tokkos. Stirling is 5-0 and is 5-5 in the last 5 bouts, last beating Philip Latu via KO, TKO. And Tokkos is 10-4-0 and is 3-5 in their last 5 bouts, last losing to Umar Sai via submission. I think for me, Stirling is going to be the pick. He's the debutant. I don't like the odds here. The odds have him at a minus, is that 800 or minus 500?
500.
And a minus 500 favorite. I think that's crazy for somebody making their debut because we never know, right? This is a step up in competition. The UFC caliber is a lot different. I think, though, however, he has solid kickboxing and he's going to be able to utilize his speed and power and combinations to land significant strikes and outwork Tokkos. I think one of the things with Tokkos is his weakness is his grappling defense, right? And I don't know much of Stirling to know that is he gonna strictly stay with the striking, or does he have a ground game? Is he gonna be able to take him down to the ground, right? We do know if you look at his record and you see some of his fights that he does have knockout power, right? He does have the ability to finish fights quickly. He's athletic. He has speed. He has the power, and he has potential, right? He's young. He's coming into the UFC. He's making his debut. But I would like to see up against somebody that has weak grappling, how he looks, or if he tries to incorporate that into his game plan. Because we already know he's a solid kickboxer, right? I want to see if he's going to have that ground game. So I'm going to go with the debutant in Stirling to win this fight. It's going to be a low for myself because it's his debut.
Yeah, and I was just trying to find them here in Bodog. Because one of the parlays, I am going to do a favorite parlay with the Knutsson, Maverick, and Stirling, and it should take me to plus odds. And I'll say this, right? Like the one thing, this reach is disgusting.
Yep.
My man is what weight class is this again? Light heavyweight. This is nasty, bro. I mean, City Kickboxing trains with Israel Adesanya. He was in Izzy's YouTube video. The guy's tall, the guy's lengthy, the guy is ready, and uh, Tukos is no joke. I was gonna say Petrino. Tukos is no joke as well. But I think my man's gonna keep it standing up, and it's gonna he's those knees. This might be a knee KO, might be a left hook, might be a
Yeah,
cross. It's gonna be nasty.
yeah, I agree. I think this fight doesn't go the distance. I think someone will be finished. I agree with you.
Sterling by Sterling Media.
You can go Sterling. All right, we'll move on to our next fight here. We have a men's bantamweight bout. Daniel Marcos up against Adrian Yanez. Marcos is 16-0 and is 4-5 in their last 5 bouts, last beating John Castaneda via unanimous decision. Yanez is 17-5-0 and is 3-5 in their last 5 bouts, last beating Vinicius Salvador via KO TKO. Who do you got in this fight, man?
This is crazy, bro. Um,
Striker versus striker, man.
I like Giannis, bro. I'm gonna be 100 with you, bro. Like I think Giannis will take this. Giannis, he's fought tough for opposition, and it's sometimes not about the opposition, but I just like his versatility a little better. I think Dan is a very good up and coming fighter. But I think Giannis gets it done. I think he will. He learned from Martinez. Like, dude, that was crazy. Those kicks that Martinez gave him, and it just shows you like when Martinez is on a different level, he's hard. That being said about Giannis, he endured. Um, he got him out of there. Was limping. It's gonna be a tough fight, striker versus striker, man. I gotta go with Giannis. I like how Giannis switches it up. Giannis is susceptible to the KO. The only thing I would say is like be very careful brawling with this individual. That's it. Giannis,
Yeah,
Giannis low.
you're gonna go with Giannis low. I'm actually gonna be on the opposing end here. I think I'm gonna go with
Marcos.
Marcos, and the reason I'm gonna go with Marcos is I agree with what you said. Um, Giannis does have the speed advantage, I believe, and he does like to throw with more output. But I think this is gonna be the toughest test for Marcos. He's undefeated in the UFC. He I think he's going to be able to land more significant strikes, and he's going to have the better defense and movement. I think that's the key to this fight, right? They're both strikers, and I think it comes down to who has the better head movement and the better striking defense. And I think I'm going to have to give that slight edge to Marcos, given his striking prowess. So I think Daniel Marcos is going to find a way. Marcos is going to find a way to pull out a victory here. I'm going to go with Marcos.
Yes, sir.
Cool. We'll move on. It's going to be low for myself as well. We have a men's light heavyweight bout. Dustin Jacoby up against Vitor Peterino. Jacoby is 19-9-1 and is 1-5 in their last 5 bouts, last losing to Dominic Reyes via KO TKO. Petrino is 11-1-0 and is 4-5 in their last 5 bouts, last losing to Anthony Smith via submission. I think for myself, I'm going to go with Petrino to win this fight. I think, he has power behind his strikes. He has good grappling. He's able to take fights down on the ground, control his opponents on the ground. He usually sets up his takedowns with his striking and his striking combinations and kind of looks for good entry points. I think he's the younger fighter. He has a better ceiling in comparison to Jacoby. I think the weakness, as you mentioned, is his defense and striking and his experience. Right, he doesn't have the experience that Jacoby does, right, and the caliber of fighters that he's fought. But I think Petrino is gonna win.
You think about you think so?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like Petrino what he did last fight. And like I get it, it's Anthony Smith, but I'll be honest with you. I think Dustin is able to handle this level of fighter. Jacoby has one loss, but I don't know. There's somebody that screams Jacoby, and I got to go with Jacoby. This is a low. There's a lot of variables to this. Um, yeah,
I think it comes down to the grappling. I think Jacoby, he has good kickboxing. He's a strong technical striker, and like I mentioned, he has the experience. He's fought the higher caliber of opponents, but his weakness is somewhat he's inconsistent in his grappling. It's not the strongest, but it's not the weakest. But it's not his strong suit, right? He kind of relies a lot on its kickboxing, and I think going up against Peterino, he's gonna look for the takedown. He's gonna look to take away his kickboxing prowess and kind of control the fight via that way. So that's what kind of the thought process that I went behind. But yeah, I agree with you. I don't disagree.
Yeah,
You're gonna go with Jacoby.
it's a low. It's a low. Yeah, the odds are like those are scream. Hey, bro, this guy has been knocked out his last fight by Dominic Reyes, but Petrino's not is not Reyes, and if he is, we're gonna find out very soon.
Yeah, and then Petrino, look, prior to that, he had all the momentum. He was 4-4, and you know me, I've said this in a lot of our breakdown videos. I love to see a fighter how he looks after a significant loss, right? How's his mindset going to be? How's his psyche going to be coming off a submission loss? Is he going to come in gun shy, or is he going to come in with that killer mentality and try to get back in the W column? So this is going to tell me a lot about Petrino, and we'll see. I'm going to go with him. It's going to be a low, and we'll move on to a men's flyweight bout. Manel Kape versus Bruno Silva. Kape is 19-7-0 and is 4-5 in their last 5 bouts, last losing to Muhammad Mokaev via unanimous decision. Silva is 14-5-2 and is 4-5 in their last 5 bouts, last beating Cody Durden via KO TKO. Who do you got, man? Break it down to me.
I do like Manel on this one. I don't think that Muhammad is his name, the guy that got cut by the UFC after the win.
Yeah.
And you know he got cut because my boy's a troublemaker. My
it was difficult to work with, right? Supposedly.
Yeah, my boy's a troublemaker. It's not because of his skill set, but it's like, brother, the boys wanted to fight in between rounds, but when the round started, they didn't want to fight. So what are we doing over here? Yeah, I gotta go simple as that. I go with Manel Kape. I think Manel Kape has the striking to kind of flourish to switch it up a little bit. I mean, look, Silva could surprise him, but I see. Yeah, I like these odds. These odds are good. These odds are good, champ. What about you?
Yeah, I think no knock to Silva. He's a good opponent. I think he has the ability to finish fights early. A lot of his fights have finished via KO, TKO. He's very durable. He could take punishments and kind of turn the tide and make the fight his fight if he's found on the losing end. And you know, he's primarily known for his striking, but his grappling is not bad. He has shown that he can grapple and be effective in it when needed. I think one of the things he suffers from is his weakness. Sometimes he leaves himself open while looking for the big finish, which could lead him to being hit, right, by somebody who's a good of a striker, especially in somebody like Kape. And I think Kape, when you look at him, he has the speed, he has the power, he has the striking technique. You know, he utilizes his kicks well, his strikes, his punches well, and he really finds good combinations. And he has experience. You know, he comes from Ryzen. He actually beat Kaya Sakura twice. If you look at his record, he beat Kaya Sakura twice. Kaya Sakura made his debut last Saturday, UFC 310, and you know they're looking to put a rocket ship behind him, right? They want to brand him. They want to get back to Japan. So it's not a bad guy to beat him twice. I think he's also explosive. He's agile. I think he has everything in his toolkit to win this fight. One of the things that he does lack that I want to see him better is his volume. He was low volume in his last fight, and I'd like to see him throw with more output and kind of be the aggressor as the fight progresses, because going up against somebody like Silva who can turn the tide, I'm gonna want to see him do that. But the pick is gonna be Kape. I think he's the better overall fighter. He'll have the better footwork, the technique, the movement, and he'll push the pace, and he'll make this his fight. So I'm gonna go with Kape as well.
Same.
Oh, Kape. I'm gonna go with a medium.
Ooh.
Yeah. You gonna go low? You're gonna be all red? You're gonna paint the town red?
And no, I had a couple of mediums, I think, one or two. But Manel, I'll put a medium. I think I like, and I'll say it here, I like the Kape, the Knutsson, and the Maverick line for plus money. I think we're dealing with very dominant fighters this round there. So
yeah, okay. We'll move on here to our co-main event. Our initial co-main event was supposed to be Mackenzie Dern up against Amanda Ribas, but that got rebooked. I think they're going to do a main event in 2025 for a fight night. So now we have stepping up Cub Swanson up against Billy Qurantillo. Swanson, the legend, is 29-14-0 and is 2-5 in their last 5 bouts, last losing to Andre Fili via split decision. Qurantillo is 18-6-0 and is 2-5 in their last 5 bouts, last losing to Yusuf Zalal via submission. It's not a bad guy to lose to. Zalal has been on a tear. He has been on a submission tear since coming back to the UFC. So I can kind of see why he lost that fight. Zalal is a bad man right now. But this isn't about Zalal. This is about Swanson and Qurantillo. Let me guess. You're going to go with the old guard here.
Nah, man, listen,
No?
I like Swanson. I
Whoa.
think my
I'm
boy.
surprised, man. I thought, before we got on this call, I was like, all right, my man's going to go with Cub Swanson. I know he likes the old guard.
Well, today, either yesterday, I think tomorrow, it's going to be his 8-year anniversary of his fight of the year candidate against Choi in Toronto, and I got to see that fight live. This fight is actually closer than many expected, and if you look at the records, bro, it's the same: one lose, one loss, one lose, one loss. Like, if the reality is for me, and I'll put this into perspective. Wow, I can't believe Dodson won. Hakeem Dawood, up and coming talent from Canada. Yeah, I mean, look, shout out to I think the young gun wins here. 41 years old, featherweight. I know he's been in tons of different battles, but he doesn't move like he used to move. He's not the favorite. Remember that there was one time he was a favorite against Holloway. People don't remember that. Holloway submitted him.
He's been around for a long time. He's been around for a long time.
He's a good cat, but I don't think he gets it done. I think, I mean, look, it's hard, champ. I mean, this is fight is even, and I got to go with Billy. I just like what I've been seeing more out of it lately.
Yeah, I think Swanson. He, as you mentioned, we all know what to expect from Swanson. He's diverse. He can strike and can grapple, and he's been around the block. He has the experience, the heart. He's durable. And up against Billy Qurantillo, he does have the striking advantage, in my opinion. He has good crisp striking, good technique. Qurantillo, on the other end, he's aggressive, right? He likes to push forward. He's constantly looking to engage with his opponents and exchanging strikes and finish fights. That's what he's looking for. He does have power behind his strikes. He can knock people down and hurt them significantly. And, his grappling isn't that bad. He does have some submission victories on his record. I think one of his weaknesses, though, is his, being so aggressive. You do leave yourself open to being countered or taken down, and I think that could benefit Swanson if he comes into the Swanson that we know. And I don't know. I think Qurantillo, given his forward pressure, given that he's the younger fighter up against a 41-year-old Swanson, also he's training out of Tampa, Florida. He does have the hometown advantage. I think Qurantillo is going to be able to push the pace. Utilize his striking, kind of mix in the grappling, and pick off Swanson and beat him off a point. So I'm gonna go with Qurantillo. I think this goes to the decision, but I think he's gonna edge the decision here.
Yeah, I think he gets it done.
Yeah.
Fiend. Like that, huh? I was like, what?
Next up, we have our main event, a men's welterweight bout. We have the 36-year-old Colby Covington up against the 30-year-old Joaquin Buckley. Covington is 17-14-0 and is 2-5 in their last 5 bouts, last losing to Leon Edwards via unanimous decision. Buckley is 26-0 and is 5-5 in their last 5 bouts, last beating Stephen Thompson via KO TKO. Now, Buckley has looked phenomenal since coming down from middleweight. He's finishing his opponents. He's looking powerful. He's looking good. He's going up against Covington of today, not the Covington of before. And the biggest question for me is, how is Covington going to look? What version of Covington are we going to get? Are we going to see the dominant wrestler that pushes forward, applies pressure, dictates the pace? Or will he be gun shy like we saw him up against Edwards? Not really utilizing his wrestling, not pushing the pace, not applying pressure, kind of trying to look like a kickboxer. What version of Covington are we going to see? Buckley, we know what to expect, right? He's powerful. He has the striking advantage over Covington. He does mix in the takedowns if needed. We saw him up against Stephen Thompson trying to secure takedowns. Stephen Thompson does have some of the best takedown defense ever. So, for him to take him down, I think he took him down once or twice, but he was relentless in that pursuit. And I think this fight's going to be a lot of the same. He's going to look to mix in both. He's going to look to pace himself, not overextend, not overexhaust himself. This is a 5-round fight. The big question to me is how Covington is going to look and how Buckley will look as the fight progresses. If it goes past the 3rd round, the 4th round, I want to see how his cardio looks, because when you're that buff, that strong, you do have a lot of muscle fiber, and you do expend a lot of oxygen, and you get tired, right? You talked about this before. But for me, I think Buckley is going to be the pick. He has all the momentum. I think he's continuously improving in his wrestling, and he has the power. And I think he'll be able to catch Covington and possibly knock him out. I think this fight will end in a finish, and I'm gonna go with Buckley to finish him.
I have to say, this is a very. It's not. It's a tough fight. It's just when we try to apply logic here, it goes away a little bit, because when the last win this guy had against a fighter in the UFC, and let me go back to his record, because
that's not retired, right?
That's not retired.
It's Rafael dos Anjos in 2018.
Yeah, I mean, look, and like my boy Masvidal. Masvidal has, is coming back, and he's coming back for a paycheck. He did not look good. Woodley, we know what happened with Woodley. Woodley's not the same. Was not the same fighter. Part of that, Kamaru, Robbie Lawler out of the UFC, Damian Maia out of the UFC, Dong Hyun Kim out of the UFC, maybe Brian Barberena in 2016. That's going to be 8 years.
Yeah, it's a good point. Point.
Yeah, and I mean, I gotta say, the young gun, bro, he's been looking good. You gotta remember something. Colby could be a lightweight if he wanted to. Buckley is a middleweight. Boy, I think this is his natural weight class. I think if him and Mr. Holland fight in welterweight, it's gonna be a different outcome. I gotta tell you, I'm gonna go with Buckley. I think Buckley has shown, there's something that says Buckley, that screams Buckley. My boy can try and grapple, but dude, Buckley's coming big, and the power. My man don't got pillow hands. That's the other thing too. My man, he knocked out Wonder Boy. Who does that?
Yeah, and I remember that was one fight we were going back and forth, right? You didn't believe in Buckley to be that good or that powerful, right? You didn't think he was gonna knock down Wonder Boy, and that's no jab at you or anything, but that's just to prove how far he's developed and how good he actually is.
If it would have gone to decision, I think Wonder Boy gets it done, but it just shows you that Buckley knew that he had to get wild out, and it was crazy, and I think I just don't see Colby holding on to this guy. Like I think you're good, but I don't know, bro. This guy's bigger than him. This guy's way big, and he's looked amazing. I mean, what are we talking about here? Tons of finishes. I mean,
and look at that reach advantage. He has the 4-inch reach advantage. He is giving up an inch of height, but I think it's going to be long for Colby. I think, I like that you brought up that point. I didn't really think about that. Is he hasn't fought anybody that's in the UFC. All his recent opponents are either retired or inactive, and that's an interesting stat to consider. But like I said, the remaining question remains: how is he going to look, right? And I think we'll find out. We'll find out. But the pick is going to be Buckley, and this is an important fight, whether you believe it or not, in the division, right? You see Colby Covington, he's ranked at number 6. Buckley's currently at number 9. We just had Shavkat and Gary duke it out for the number 1 contender spot, right? Shavkat is going to be facing Bilal Muhammad in 2025. This fight has good implications. If Buckley wins, he moves up to number 6. If Colby Covington wins, he remains at 6. And then what do you do from there? Do you give Gary Covington? Do you give Buckley? Let's speak in hypotheticals here. If Covington wins, what's next for him? Do you do the Ian Gary fight?
No, man. It's hard. It's. Yeah, I mean, what's Colby ranked right now? I don't even. Let me go to.
I said 6.
6 right now.
Yeah.
Wow. Topology has him ranked that a little bit lower. Yeah, I mean, you should kind of give him Gary. Gary and him are right there, 6 and 7. But maybe you have Burns fight him, right? Like I think if Colby loses,
yeah,
Gilbert Burns, have Burns fight him, and because they're both getting up there in age, right?
Yeah.
I think Machado is just too. I mean, if the Shavkat fight taught us anything, it taught us that this new era is crazy, and it makes you think like, what the fuck is Usman doing? Why isn't Usman? Why doesn't Usman want to? All those guys are top guys right now. Look, that new generation: Edward, Shavkat, Brady, Magdalena, Gary, Joaquin's coming up. Thompson, old generation. Morales is coming up. Prodes is coming up. So
Yeah, that's one of the things we talked about. There's a lot of prospects coming up. You got Brady, as you mentioned, Rachmanov, you got Gary, you got Buckley, you got Protes, you got Morales is undefeated. It's a lot of killers in the welterweight division. You got Battle itching his way into the rankings, right? So very, very tough division. We'll see what happens. But I think if Buckley wins, man, like, what's a good matchup for Buckley? Do you think Magdalena?
no, I think Magda is going to have to. I think Brady. He's going to have to get Brady. Kamaru's picky who he wants to fight. I think Kamaru understands that his back is against the wall. So
Or
yeah,
do you think that since Kamaru beat Covington, if Buckley beats him, he says, "All right, you deserve a title. We both beat a guy. Let's see. Not a title. You deserve a shot. I mean,
yeah. I mean, I'm just curious what's going on with Magdalena.
I think Protes has tweeted and he has been vocal that he wants to fight him in Australia. My man said, "Listen, I haven't been given a fight, but I'm already training for Australia. So give me a call, brother." He
Yeah,
wants to go out there. I think his daughter's out there. He wants to be on that card. I think a lot of the fighting nerds want to be on that card. So
yeah, it's a tough fight, man.
mhm.
Yeah, I don't know. Usman is. I think Usman kind of paralyzed the division. Like he did a little rant today where he went after everybody. But he's stuck there. What's going on? Like, when's the last time he fought? I don't know. I think it was like a couple of months ago against Hamzat. Um, yeah, it's almost gonna be. Oh no, never mind. It's already been a year. So
Yep, it's been
is
a
he
while.
rehabbing injuries? Is he staying on top? Because listen, like when you're up there, bro,
Hmm.
sponsorships are good, baby. And like Usman's not going anywhere. But what is happening that Usman, uh, bro, since 2022, he's only fought. Well, no, he's fought once a year. He just hasn't fought this year. I don't think he fights this year. 2024, 2025. Oosh.
Yeah,
I
we'll
don't know,
see.
man. Yeah.
We'll see. But yeah, that is our full card breakdown. We will drop our picks on X. Make sure you tap in with us. The description. The link is in the description below. Make sure you tap in, follow us on X. Make sure you like, you subscribe, you show us some love. We are consistently putting out these videos. We are consistently putting out our UFC post-fight reactions on Sundays. We are consistently doing our fight by round by round analysis per fight on every card. We are engaging. We are growing this community. We have big plans for 2025. I thank everybody for supporting us thus far. Let's keep the ball rolling. Sergio, any parting words for the people?
Nah, man. Happy New Year. I think after this we'll do the post one and we'll get the fuck out. But yeah,
Yeah, we'll be
it's
a
gonna,
little
it's gonna be an
2 week break.
interesting card, brother. It's gonna be an interesting card.
It's going to be an interesting card as always, man. It's a pleasure doing this with you. I'm Roy, accompanied by the Dominican Badman, Serge, aka the Floor Price Guy. We're combat sports guys. Love what you love, do what you do. Peace.